Hello, everybody. How are you? Today is a great day. I'm launching my book, Racism, The Perfected Art of Bending Reality, and the Case of a Stiff-Necked People. Somebody asked me the other day who the stiff-necked people are. I think you need to read the book to find out who they are, because my people suffer for lack of knowledge. If you knew who you are, you would know that when God is for you, nobody can touch you. So you need to read the book, because there's a reason why the black people are hated all over the world, why you are hated by everybody in the world. And it's not your skin color. It's deeper than that. Your skin color is actually the best color in the world. It's God's favorite color also. It's the most healthy color you can ever have. So this hatred about the black people is deeper than skin color. And if you knew the truth, it would shock you, because truth is stranger than fiction. Thank you. Remember the police officer who went to somebody's apartment, the wrong apartment, and she killed the man in his own apartment. So you gotta know something is terribly, terribly wrong. If somebody came to my, and I don't even believe that story that the guy had the light stand out, it's his own apartment, that the door was open a little bit. I don't believe that story. I don't know how you all feel about that story. I don't think it's true. I think this woman, for whatever reason, either she had the key to this apartment and she opened it. But if you're walking into somebody's apartment, like I have neighbors, you know my neighbors. If I decided to go to their house and I'm holding a gun and I put out my gun thinking that that is my own house, there is something wrong. That is not normal human behavior. That is like somebody who is being directed by an evil spirit. It's almost like somebody who is demon possessed. You also heard about Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin, young man walking home from the mini-mart, and somebody is following him with a gun, and he ends up dead. That story also does not add up. It just doesn't add up. And when you take this man to court, he used that law. Does anybody remember what law he used? Let's stand your ground law. Does anybody know where that comes from? Do you know where that comes from? Okay, that comes from the Luciferian 10 Commandments. Has anybody ever heard of Luciferian? Luciferian,
Alabama, Highway 31, and there were 3 police cars that pulled us over. And there was one black police officer, and he got back in his car.
Yeah. Wow.
Across the highway, one man had his gun already drawn to shoot. And as I got out the car, I put my hands on the top of the car and spread my legs automatically. And then he began to interrogate the others in the car. There was 2 young ladies in the car with us. So the person that was sitting up front in the passenger seat, he put his 38 special on him, another police officer. And when he put the 38 special, I felt something go on the back of my neck.
Wow.
And that was the revolver. So it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. And so I reached my hand back there to see what, and I grabbed the nozzle of the gun and put my hand back real quick. And then they said that they said we was a runaway car. The people from South Pittsburgh said it was a runaway car, we could not catch them.
What?
And the school that I attended was Oakwood College at that time, which is Oakwood University now. But because of all of the turmoil, I was going to sue. But because the students that had from going from north, they had to pass through that passage, they said not to sue the Scottsboro Police Department.
Who say don't sue them? Who say not to sue them?
My mentor.
Who is your mentor?
Not to do it.
Is your mentor a pastor too?
Yes, he was a pastor. He said,
Something.
do not sue them.
Something is wrong.
Why? Because racism. He knew about racism. So that's why he said, do not pursue that.
Okay. I think that's okay, but we'll get to that, because I mean there is a lot going on, and I just wish more people came. But you know, you that came, God spoke to you, and that's why you're here. So I'm excited that you're here. So I'm asking, this hatred does not make any sense. You all know that it doesn't. So my question is, what did we ever do to them to deserve this kind of treatment? Because I mean, we have bent backwards to try and get along with them. It's not happening. And you all think that things are bad now. They're gonna get worse. They will get worse. My wake-up call was actually when Trump came into power. Something just told me something was not adding up. First of all, Trump did not win the election. Hillary did. Not to say that Hillary is any better. I think they are both two sides of the same coin. But that woke me up. I was like, when I came to this country, I came in the early 1987. And I used to live in the New Jersey, New York area. And Trump was always in the local news. He was 40-ish at the time, always in the local news saying something stupid. So already, I did not like this man, but I thought he was a good-looking guy. You know, the tycoon from New York City, the multi-millionaire at the time. But I knew he didn't like women. And when he said that he was running for presidency, I thought it was a joke. I actually didn't think it was going to happen. I was like, who's going to elect him? Because I was like, I don't care if he's running for a mayor of a small town. I would not elect him. So I thought it was a joke. And lo and behold, you know, the media was talking about him. He's sucking up he's like a black hole. He's sucking all the energy and all that. And before you know it, and I'm looking aloud. Even when I'm driving, I'm looking aloud. I'm saying, the internet says that he has a lot of supporters. Where are they? I'm looking and I could not see anyone. And then I began to see people wearing those hats. What do they call them? Yeah. I started to see, and then two people at work, they were sitting right next to me, two white guys, and they were talking about Hillary when she collapsed in New York City during the World Trade Center. Yeah, she collapsed. They were like, "Did you see the collapse?" And they were laughing, and all of a sudden I had this fear go up in me. It came from my stomach and it just came and settled right here. And I was like, oh my God, these are Trump supporters and these are my colleagues. And I began to really feel fear. After that, I started paying attention and people were really supporting him. And it didn't matter. The people that were supporting him, it didn't matter where he went. He could have gotten off the Republican Party and did independent or all by himself. They were going to follow him wherever he went. So I was beginning to see something is not adding up. So no matter what is going on, something did not add up. So he got elected. And the day that he got elected, I remember I had to go to bed before they announced the election because I came back to the computer and everything had turned red. It was around midnight. All the states were turning red. And I was like, I can't believe this. I really can't believe it. So I went to bed. I woke up the next morning only to hear that he had won the election. That day, I had so many appointments. I had to cancel them because I had no energy to get out of the house. No energy. I called a friend of mine and said, you know, I can't even leave the house. She was like, you're not the only one. I can't leave the house either. So I had a stomachache for a whole week after that. But anyway, flash forward to 2017. Already I know something is wrong because nothing is adding up. And I knew he didn't win the election. So I started Googling the college electoral, what do they call it? The electoral college vote. Where did they come from? When was it put up? When did they elect and why? Because, you know, unless they elect the president, you all can elect a president, unless the college electoral vote elects that president, he's not going to be president. And this is actually the second time it's happening, because George W. Bush and Al Gore, it was the same thing. Al Gore won the election, but George W. Bush became president. And you know, for him, it went for a whole week before they could announce. And then he was president. So I started Googling, does anybody know when they decided to be using the electoral college vote? Okay. When this country was invented by the founding fathers, they put that in place. The reason why they put that in place is so the public will never have the chance to elect a president that they didn't like. So they don't want whoever you all elect, if they don't like that person, they can say. So your vote basically, and you know, most of our people died to get the voting rights. Your vote only counts as the popular vote. It doesn't matter. You do not elect any presidents. Presidents are appointed. So I began to think, if that's happening in America, which we think is a democratic country, how about the other countries? How about Kenya, for instance? We don't elect the president. And you know, most people die when there's an election going on. People die fighting each other over our candidate. We do not. So every death, every person that dies, that's a blood sacrifice. It's a blood sacrifice. And I'll tell you why that is. We've been lied to big time. And I'm thinking, if they lied about that, they've lied about many other things. That is not the only thing they've lied about. So I started...
the whole educational system.
Great. Can somebody else think about what else they've lied? The education system, the history, yes. Lies. Can somebody else think about what else they've lied about? Pastor, I'll put you on the spot.
There's a lot of brainwashing.
That too. But the biggest lie is about religion. That is the biggest lie. The Bible, and I'll tell you why I started looking at other religions to see what they believe in. And I wouldn't advise anybody to go do that, actually. If you don't know who you are, and you don't know what you believe in, don't go looking at what they believe in, because you will be so messed up. Because when I look at Trump, I remember when the evangelists, the Southern evangelists went to Washington and they were playing for him, and they all laid hands on him. I looked at that, and for some reason I could tell that they actually believed what they were doing was right. And when you look at Trump and he tells you he's a Christian, to me, I don't know about you all, he seems to believe he is. But you know, what does God say? Or Jesus said, he says so many people will come in my name, but the way you're going to know who the false prophets are and who are not, it's their love for humanity. So you all hear what he has to say. And I'm telling you, actually, I don't hate Trump. I actually like him. I think he's very funny.
So another thing is the Sunday blue laws, they will be enforced in the future.
They will. And guess who the first person to actually even portray themselves as a good guy? Who is that? Chick-fil-A. Because you know they close their stores and everybody plays them. They're just testing you to see what your reaction is. So when they start forcing you to take off on Sunday, because that's coming, that's why I'm saying things are going to get worse. They're going to force you to not work on Sunday and to observe that. But that was not the day that God had appointed. That is not the Sabbath. I say, because God says people who observe the Sabbath, that's how you know who his children are, who listen to him. So April 20, what?
Was Jesus born today or today?
We don't know for sure, because the documents have been erased. We don't even have a picture of Jesus, because the Jesus that you look at, that white Anglo-Saxon guy with broad hair, blue eyes, that is not Jesus. That, to me, that, huh?
I don't want to call him Jesus. He was just acting.
Oh, that, well, but the picture that we use, Because if you go to Kenya, people who are Catholic, if you go to their homes, you will know a Catholic from a non-Catholic. They have all these pictures of Jesus holding a heart that's bleeding. Yeah. You've seen that. Yeah. Yeah. My question is, if we are so smart, how come we can't seem to get it together? What's up with that? So those were the questions.
Just by intentionality, it's been designed that they want to keep us separated. They do not want us to unite. That's the biggest problem right there.
That right there.
Unity.
Did you all hear that? You need unity. But you know what? If we knew who we are and we knew how much power we have, we still should have been able to overcome this. But they have used high-level witchcraft and sorcery to actually put a veil over Africa. That, if you told me that 2 years ago, I would not have believed you. So this was done to me, 2017, April 2017. Somebody, I'm talking to somebody and I was trying to, because I educate people about health and weight management. And so we were having a one-to-one conversation and he looked at me and he was having issues at home. He looked at me, he said, you know, looking at you, I wouldn't think you are like a spiritual guru or something. I was like surprised. I said, do you think I'm a spiritual guru? He says, you sound like one. He said, you know, I too want to write a book. He said, I'm trying to write a book, but since you write books, why don't you read my book and tell me what you think about it? I said, well, I'd love to read your book. What he brought to me was a book that was handwritten, and he handed over to me. Now knowing, now I told you about the high-level witchcraft. This book was an occult book. Does anybody know what occult is?
Yes.
Occult? Hidden stuff. So they had done witchcraft on the book and thing. So I bring the book home. And within 3 days, I actually had a panic attack. A panic attack. I left the book in my house, and every time I came to the house, I would get so anxious. For 3 days, I didn't sleep. My daughter can tell you. I ended up burning the book. Because I talked to my first lady, a pastor. She has insight into those things. And she asked me, when I told her what I was feeling and how everything is happening, she told me, have you brought home anything that don't belong to you? And I told her about the book, and she says, you shouldn't have brought that book home. She says, that is the point of contact. I ended up burning the book. The mistake that I did was I burnt the book in my own house. I know. I took it outside. I tried to burn it outside. And I tried to set it on fire 4 times. And every time the weed will come and blow it over outside. So I brought it back and I put it in a tray and I put it in the oven. I baked the book. Now, that's kind of crazy. Who does that? So my kids, and then the smell that they left in the house, and plus I'm not sleeping, they got concerned. And I ended up, long story short, a lot of people were called, and I ended up being checked into a psych hospital. And I knew that I was under the influence of heavy spiritual warfare. I knew what was going on. But when the doctor took a look at me, she decided I had bipolar. Oh. So yeah, she did. Within a week, my diagnosis, I got discharged after 1 week. The doctor that I was referred to went ahead and changed my diagnosis. Within a month, she changed it. She says, you know what? I don't believe you had any of that. She says, I think you are reacting to some kind of stress. I was like, I could have told you that. Of course, if you are the spiritual warfare, what do you think that's going to do to you? So I ended up writing this book. And what that did, it actually gave me insight into what mental illness is all about. So I can tell you about schizophrenia. I can tell you all about it. And we are not treating schizophrenia properly. We are not treating any of the mental illness properly. I wrote the book, so this will give people hope. But they haven't caught on yet, but I'm sure at some point they will. So anyway, that is April. And that's what they've done on Africa. But my veil has already been removed. So I knew at this point everything was not okay. So April and May, I was just gathering information. And I can tell you, those Greek gods, those Egyptian gods, you see, we are using symbols of Egypt. And that's not the only thing. The Washington Monument That is a it's a phallic symbol. And the origins of that is Greece. Statue of Liberty. The origins of that, because the man who built the Statue of Liberty, and I know they say that the French were giving him the Statue of Liberty as a gift. It's not. The guy who built the Statue of Liberty actually got his inspiration. He went to Egypt, and he studied the Egyptian way of, something about the sun god. You see the arrows that are pointing out? That is the sun, the crown of the Statue of Liberty. That is the sun. Yeah.
You're trimming on the Illuminati now.
Everything, all of it is all mixed up. So that's what is going on in this country. So now we are using the Egyptian gods, we have the Greek gods, and we also have the Roman gods. We haven't even talked about them. Because ancient Rome, they were worshiping, it's the same gods, they just have different names. Artemis, you talked about Artemis. That's Diana.
Yes.
That's Diana in Italy. Apollo, they never changed Apollo name. But their sun god, I think, is Jupiter. They also have Neptune. All these. And if you look in America, we have even city-states, towns like Jupiter in Florida. We have Sparta in is it South Carolina? They're all over. If you Google how these, the states where the names came from, what was the inspiration? And the towns, the 13 colonies, the 13 Greek gods, and the 13 major Greek gods. And there are 7 who are like top of the tops, because this thing has a hierarchy. So anyway, the 7, if you see number 7, and I think the lays of the Statue of Liberty is 7 lays. Anytime you see that, they're trying to communicate something. But now, we don't understand because they speak in symbolism. That's their language of the Illuminati. That's the language of Freemasons. We just see, and we see these things and they don't make any sense to us. Yeah. But the Bible also says that everything that has been done in darkness will actually be brought to light.
The devil has a way of turning anything that God has that's perfect and right and twisting it. And that's what she's talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
Twisting it. And it's making us think of the number 7 in a negative way. Like how we look now, how we look at the rainbow. God put it in place as a memory to tell us that he will never destroy the earth by water again. Who has taken on the symbol of the rainbow?
The LGBT.
And they want it to seem as if it's all happy and gay and have twisted it, God's perfect symbol, to remind us of his promise and have twisted it into something evil.
But to add to that, there is a Greek god, Gaia. She also uses the rainbow colors. That is her special colors. And gay, the word gay, it came from the worship of this Gaia god. So when men are having intercourse with men, it's a form of worship. And sometimes some people are following it as a behavior thing, but the other people are actually possessed by this spirit of lesbianism or homosexuality. It's a spirit, but other people could be into it just because they want to copy other people, but there are actually some people who are possessed. And that's why they tell you, I always knew something was wrong with me, or I always knew I'm gay and I was born like that. Because they feel like this is part of them, but they really don't know that it's a spirit inside of them that is driving all this. They're transgender too. It's the same thing. Some people are actually even dedicated by their parents before they're born or when they are children. And they grow up with a spirit, because this spirit, it will even affect your kids in the womb. So when they are born, they will feel like a boy is born, but they always tell you, I've always felt like a girl. And they behave like a girl, they talk like a girl because of the spirit. The spirit drives everything. So in No. I'm not. I'm telling you about the Greek gods. I'm telling you about the Greek gods. So what has happened is people don't understand who the devil is and how the devil operates, because he is the false light, and he can manipulate things, and he can masquerade as the angel of light. So the devil works these two things, darkness and light. He can masquerade as an angel of light, and he can pretend to be very good. And he also is a very religious guy. He's a very fabricated guy. So we don't know all that. We believe the devil was, Jesus kind of put him in his place, and he's in hell. When he was cast out of heaven, God never took away the gifts he had given him. So he still has those gifts. And you know, he used to be the angel, the leader of the choir in heaven. Right. He still can do that. So he actually controls the music industry. He's also, what was I going to say? He also loves worship. So he's a very religious guy. And to some parts, it's like he took this world and he has his, because his kingdom is more organized than we think. And he's not a fool. He's actually smarter than us. So he says, well, you take that kingdom, you take that principality over there, and you make them believe in this Buddha, whatever. Let them worship that. That's the light of Lucifer. Over here, he might come to Muhammad and say, this is the faith that you're going to do. You know, this is what you're going to believe in. And he can dictate these things. He loves worship. He's a very religious guy. He claims worship like a drug. But he can also come over here and mess these people up. He says, this principality right here, you do the drugs. And this principality right here, because he was cast into the world, and he thinks he's the God of this world. So he'll say, if you want power, I'll give it to you. But what I need from you is a blood sacrifice. If you need fame, I'll give it to you. And he's very quick, just like you said. He's very quick. You want it? I'll give it to you. You just bow down and worship me. Just like he tempted Jesus. What else does he tempt people? Fame, wealth, power. Those are the three that he uses most. Beauty. Yeah. See, you want to be world famous? I'll give it to you. Just bow down.
See, the theme that they run through America today is unity in diversity.
Yes.
And that's not so. And
it's
then
not
we got the other dichotomies. White, I'm going to say Black Lives Matter.
But.
Then, on the other hand, we have the group that we call white privilege.
So people think that Trump is our biggest problem. Trump is not your biggest problem. You got a bigger fish to fly than Trump. He's following orders from who? Let's see. There's this Bible verse that I need to tell you, and I need to rush because actually I think I prepared too much information. There's Deuteronomy 28. The whole chapter talks about blessing and curses. But if you look at the curses, this has never happened to any other race but just the black people. And that's what clued me in to know that we are actually the children of the Most High. We are the children who are given the wisdom, the wisdom of the kingdom of God. We are it. And that's why we are hated so much. Also, in the book of Revelation, it talks about chapter 2, verse 9. It talks about fake Jews. Those who call themselves Jews, but they are fake. So who in the world? I know. Who in the world is calling themselves Jews? Other than those Jews in Israel. And you know that Israel was just made the other day. So that's a fake Israel. That's another Israel. So we're talking about medical lies, religious lies, history lies, all kinds of lies. So we talked about the Greek gods. I'm going to rush. We talked about Athens, and if you needed to know anything about university, that's where they started the university. So now if you need to go to school or to get a good job, you have to go to university, and university is not cheap. And actually, the way things are, because you are a triune being, you are a spirit, you are a soul, and you are a body. You have three things in one. Wisdom does not come from going to college. Wisdom comes from God, and everybody has their own share of wisdom. And if you don't have it, all you need to do is ask God, and He'll give it to you. Now, knowledge is a little bit different. Knowledge, you can learn how to do stuff. You can learn from someone, like an apprenticeship. You can go to college, pay some tuition, and be educated. You can learn something on the job. So knowledge is all allowed us. So we Africans are not stupid, but we got some stuff that is going on around us that is preventing us from being who we were called to be. There's this guy called Albert Pike. Does anybody know him? He's an American. He's dead. He is the guy who started the Ku Klux Klan. And you know, Ku Klux is also a god. I think he's Mexican god or something. It's this green serpent that has red eyes and a tongue. That's Ku Klux. And actually, that serpent went to the Vatican. It went to visit. It was in the newspaper not too long ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I saw that, and I sent somebody a picture, and I was like, Catholics still okay with this? I mean, I went to visit. Remember? I told you 2 weeks ago. Yes. So Albert Pike is the founder of the Ku Klux Klan, and he thought that black people were just stupid. But it's because they have this wisdom that they get from the gods that they worship. But these gods also require blood sacrifices. They will never give you anything for free. You want something? You're going to have to give blood. Some of these covenants they have are signed in blood. You can sign it, but once you taste that money, you actually can't get out. You're going to have to bleed out, die, but you can't get out. And that's why you see some of our famous musicians dying strange deaths. Yes.
This community that you all live in, there's a lot of subliminal seduction. The Ku Klux that you're talking about, they used to burn people, hang people right in this community, all this area around here.
Wow.
All throughout Johnson County. This is my home.
Oh.
This is my birthplace, Wendell. I grew up in Raleigh.
Yeah.
But I just want to let you be aware.
The spirit.
They used to have a big sign with a man riding on the horse. Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah.
When you was riding into Smithfield.
So, yeah, when they're killing you, they're sacrificing you to that God.
They went underground. So, but don't think for a moment they have stopped.
No, they haven't. We start awakening as black people. We start awakening and we realize who we are. They're going to hate us more. So they're going to hate us more. So you're going to need some really good weapons to fight this fight. So Albert Pike, he's dead, but they have a statue of him in Washington. And they know his history. He actually wrote the morals and dogmas of Freemason. He too was a Mason, but he was above that degree Mason. He probably was a Shriner. That is beyond the degrees of Masonship. And this is why he's a Ku Klux Klan. That is another brotherhood. So there's so many brotherhoods. There is the Ku Klux Klan, there is the Jesuits, and we already talked about a famous Jesuit, but you all didn't know. You should know this stuff, but I'll tell you in a minute. There is the Illuminati. There are so many. I can't even mention them. There is the Eastern Star. That is the female Freemason. Yeah. And they're all allowed us. And for them to get the wealth that they have to do some really bad stuff. They have to worship these gods. Because America is a melting pot. Egypt is here, Babylon is here, Greece is here, ancient Rome is here. And they also had other mythologies. The Celtic people, the European, the Irish. Everything is here. America is a melting pot. These things did not stop when they moved over here. They just brought them here. So your secret weapon, that is their secret weapon. That's why they're able to use this witchcraft to keep us down, number one. There are also these secret societies. Black people, they allow some, but not everybody. And they know who they want. Because if you start raising your head up, they want to buy your influence. because they know you're gonna give us hope to think that we can get ahead, and really we're not gonna be able to get ahead. But when we see you're already bought, so you're already compromised. We're gonna think that we're gonna get ahead because you are in office, but we're not, because you're one of them and you're gonna follow their agenda. Now the initiation ceremony, they are made to do some really bad stuff, have homosexual sex. Some of our leaders, like, initiation, they have like 2 guys who are put in a pool of mud and they're supposed to wrestle naked, and they're taking pictures, and they're like, the minute you step out of that, you decide to do your own thing, they're gonna expose you to the public. This is who he is, or they do something else. You think Bill Cosby was the only guilty person? He might be guilty, but there are others just like him. Yeah, there are others just like him. If Bill Cosby can go to jail, Trump should also go to jail, because he's done the same stuff. So anyway, so we talked about Freemasons. Freemasons are the people who run the world. Even our presidents. Our presidents are high-level Freemasons. And that's why you see Africa really never gets ahead, because these people are already bought. They are already bought. They are already compromised. Yes, you were saying something.
I said they use all those different Freemason signs. If you get into an accident or something like that,
Yeah.
policeman, when you do this sign like this,
And also your car. And if they run your name is also in their laptops, so they know.
My brother is a retired paramedic from this fire department in New York City. He got in an accident where a homeless person was crossing the street. He hit the person. Just out the blue, they came between cars. He hit the person. The guy that responded, the police officer that responded, saw that he was from the fire department. He wasn't retired yet. And as he got out of the car, he started throwing something at him. My brother didn't respond because my brother doesn't know those signs.
Right.
So he started asking him questions. Are you this? Are you a Mason? Are you this or that?
He's actually asking.
He's asking, and my brother's like, no. He said, oh, well, man. He starts trying to
Yeah. If you're one of them, you wouldn't get a ticket. And if you happen to get a ticket and you go to court, your case is dismissed. I mean, they have it easy. Yes. And so we wonder why our people end up getting like longer jail terms for the same offense that they have committed. Is because of that. We are already blacklisted. Greek fraternity, sorority groups I was telling you about, they have the Divine 9 that they use on black people. They are in every college. If you just go Google the Divine 9, you see them. Most of our black leaders are from that. So if you enter the Greek fraternity, they make you the initiation ceremony. You actually have to give your oath of alliance is to one of the Greek gods. I even remember when I was in college, I actually entered one because I was told if you put that in your resume, you'll get a better job.
I remember I was probably about 5 years old, and I can remember that they was in the woods initiating them with the paddles.
Imagine that. Yeah, and also they're recording this thing. Now, if they see you have some kind of potential, they don't want you. I mean, you get all the passes, and you think you're getting scholarships to kind of help you move ahead. But no, they want to buy you. They want to recruit you. I wrote it down yesterday, but honestly, I cannot find it in my notes. So he's not called, some people will refer him to as the Black Pope, but that's not his real title. The real title, if you go Google the head of Jesuit, you might be able to get it. It's a general. He has a general name under him, but he is a priest also. And what they do is they go to a certain country, let's say like Venezuela. What's going on in Venezuela? They want something in Venezuela. They talk to the president and the president is refusing. They're gonna come and cause chaos in that country. They do whatever they have to do to befriend you, to cause seeds of discord, to cause hatred, and before you know it, the country is in a civil crisis. There is civil war, people are getting killed, people are going hungry. These hungers that you see around the world, they're actually causing them, the Jesuits. There is the Jesuit oath, and if you went to the Congress that I Congress Library, you will find the extreme Jesuit oath in their books. So this thing is not, and if you Google it on the internet, you'll find it too. But what makes me know that it's a legal document is because you can find it in the Congress Library. The Jesuit oath says if they don't care whether the person is boiled, fried, their head cut off. If you're refusing this is the world mafia, and they control the power. So their voice, they use mainstream media. Everything in mainstream media, they own it. The Zionists own it. The Jesuits use it. That's their mouthpiece. What goes on in Hollywood, that's their God. So sometimes you might feel these stars saying, I thank God for this award. I thank God. They're not talking about the same God we worship. It's another God. You also have heard them say that there are many. Some of them say that there are many ways to God. That is not true. That there are many ways to God. That is not true. There is only one way to the Most High, but there are several ways to Lucifer. All the world religion, the mystery religion, the occult, the other religions, including Christianity, we are actually working side by side with them. So your pastor, and I'm not saying, some of our pastors, famous pastors, we love them. They're actually Freemasons, But I'm not going to name any names. If you want to Google who is a pastor and a Freemason, it's right on the internet. You'll find it. Okay, so you were born in a war. It's only that we never realize. We're actually born in a war zone. And if you don't know how to fight, because the war is in the spiritual realm, which we don't see, the war is heating up. Because right now we are in the end times, we are in the book of Revelation. We are almost at the last chapter of the book of Revelation. And you're going to see this war coming down to earth, to our physical world. And when it does, because, but this is not your war. This is war between Satan and God, actually. But it so happens that because we are the children of the Most High, and we have the secrets to the kingdom of God, that's the reason why they hate us. It's not the skin color. Lucifer cannot be the supreme ruler of this world as long as black people live in this world. But if he can use distraction, he can tell you are dumb, so you'll never reach your destiny. You will believe it, and he will control you. So that's why they hate black people. So Lucifer is your real enemy. It's not them. Lucifer just uses them. So the spirit of Antichrist is really within us, but we kind of don't see that. So the Greek gods are going to fall. They are actually going to fall for the last time. And when they do, black people, you see black people raising up, you see Africa coming up. But before that happens, it's going to get worse than, before. So what is your secret weapon? Your secret weapon is to depend on God, because this is not your war. If you live a righteous life, you observe the 10 commandments, you learn how to pray right, like using our Lord's Prayer, just like Jesus taught us, that will protect you, because this is not your war. If you get stopped by a police officer, like I'm telling you, the killings are getting crazy, but that's because they have a really evil spirit driving them. And if they see you as an enemy. If you try to fight back, they say they're calling you names, you try to fight back, they can use that. I mean, they will get scared. As time goes on, and this kingdom, they're getting more scared. The devil is getting more scared, and they're going to get more scared. And the more scared they're going to get more dangerous. So, let's talk about the pedophilia that's going on. That's part of their worship. When you worship Satan, he's going to ask for blood. He's going to ask for perversion. So sleeping with little children. People don't sleep with little children because they need sex. It's because they are defiling them. And the devil is happy when they are defiled. It's almost like taking the little kids' power, because you steal energy. It feeds this demonic system. So when they kill a human being, that is a blood sacrifice. Killing a cow is not the same as killing a human being. You're going to get more power and more money if you kill a human being. So ignorance is actually our biggest enemy, not knowing these things. And that's why I try to educate you a little bit on that. Voting, so we believe, we've been told that the vote is what this is what will set you free. Vote the right people into office. That will never set you free. That's a lie. Because voting does not work, and I just told you why. So, and I told you wisdom comes from God, and knowledge is power. You need to know these things, because then you're going to have more power. The world right now is in a pretty bad shape. Abortion is also a blood sacrifice. So we got work to do, black folk. You need to know why God sent you here, because you have an assignment. And let me tell you, everybody has an assignment, and if we stop competing with one another, because you got your assignment, I got mine, and God is so wonderful that He actually never made us the same. You all know that our fingerprints are different, right? Our mind is also different. We don't think the same. So when we are jealous of one another, we compete with one another, we are wasting our time. And black people are blessed. You have a double anointing. So you need to find what your destiny is. Know your destiny so you can save this world, because you were born to solve somebody else's problem. You know, like I do healthcare. People need health information. And I know some people will find whatever I'm teaching useful. Some people are not going to find it. I'm not worried. The universe is so big. We have over 7 billion people in this universe. I have my market, and my market is not your market. So anyway, the second heaven is where the demons and the angels live. Please don't fight that. Because remember, our war is not with flesh and blood. It's with our spiritual wickedness in high places, right? Yeah, and you cannot fight. That is not a physical fight. You know, you having a gun and thinking that you're going to protect yourself over that kingdom, you're not going to be able to, because they're smarter than we are. Without God, we really are no match for it. But God, this is God's war. Let Him fight it. He is capable. You know? So I'm almost done here. So I told you about second heaven. Unity is a must. We must unite at the family level. We must unite at the community level, at the national level, and then global. We don't care. We love you black Americans. I know I've had that comment that, you know, Africans don't love black Americans. I've had people say that, and I don't know, is that true? Because to my experience, it's not. That is just propaganda that has been set there to make you think that we don't love you. We actually do. And Africa is very wealthy. It's the wealthiest continent in the world. And if we expect our leaders to help us, they're not going to. They're already compromised. So there has to be a better world order, and that world order is coming. This will be a heaven on earth, and black people will be. We are the ones to preach the gospel to the four corners of the world. And you have an assignment in this world that will help this world be a better place. So that is the new world order. It's not you all have heard them talk about the new world order that they are talking about. That is Lucifer's world order. But our world order is going to be different. Because this is what you see now. The medical industry, I just told you about that, about the medical industry. That is not the medical world that God had envisioned for this world. And that's why it don't work. All the drugs they give you, you know they have side effects. You know, God never intended for us to use that medical world. Because He says, if my people who are called by my name, if they can just bow down and worship me, I will heal them and I'll heal their land. And that is the shortest path. So you all know not to fight with racism, and don't worry, if they call your name, you keep on going, you do your thing, and you ask God for wisdom, because you have an assignment in this world. Was that helpful? Yes. Thank you. My little book. Yeah, I talk about that here because I see the way people are fighting racism with all these marches going to Washington. Washington is not paying attention. They go to their bed laughing. So I put this book out, and I also do mission trips. So the money that I will raise from this will actually help me with my mission trips. And I have that Bible verse, 2 Chronicles, chapter 7, verse 14. If my people who are called by name, your black folk, humble themselves, pray and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways. So we have some wicked ways, you know, competing with each other, kidding each other, talking bad about one another. He says if we turn away from that, he will hear us from heaven and he'll forgive our sins and heal our land. So